Hi, this presentation will show an example of configuring the Bentley licensing centrally using Active Directory group policy objects. So first of all, I will show a domain controller. This is Server 2008 R2, and there are actually two ways of configuring it. It's the older .adm template designed for Windows Server 2003 based domain controllers, and the newer one, the ADMX, Bentley licensing.admx, and .adml files. Those ADMX, ADML files can only be used on the newer 2008 domain controllers, but you can actually, on 2008, you can use the older file. Only one small modification is needed in the file. I'll show that. First of all, how you can get those files. The .adm is supplied together with select server installation file, select server v9, the latest installation, but you need to download the deployed select server installation, install it, and only then you can get the .adm. So I guess an easier way to get the templates is creating a service ticket for select server and telling what's your operating system, then asking for the group policy template file according to your operating system. So you either get the .adm or the two files, ADMX plus ADML. I will first show how to use the ADM, the older file, on the newer domain controller. In order to do that, you need to modify it a little bit. Here, this part, which is part AK, activation key, it gives the maximum length of activation key is defined here. In the initial file, you will see 32, but if you leave it like that and configure, you will only be able to enter 31 symbol of the activation key. So in order to be able to enter the full 32 symbol site activation key, you need to change this to 33. Don't know why this is like that, but it's the small modification you need to do before using it. I guess that may be because of the exact thing I mentioned. This is the older template file used on a newer domain controller. So the modification is already done here, saved, and we go to group policy management, default domain policy, edit, policies, administrative templates. Here we right click, add remove templates, add the Bentley licensing ADM, close, and then you see classic administrative templates ADM appear here, and inside we have Bentley systems. Go to licensing. Here you will have select server settings, the name, the site activation key, and also we have the proxy settings. So you have a lot of control here. I will just configure the select server settings, enabled, and I'm configuring it to look at select server online. I will use a temporary activation key that I created for today. Here. Okay, so it's configured, and that's actually everything you need to do on the domain controller side. Go into the user machine. That's a Windows 7 machine in the same domain. And as you see, it doesn't have any licensing configuration. I will now run the GP update command in command prompt to synchronize group policy with the domain controller. And now when I go to Tools options, I see this warning that the configuration has already been set by the administrator and users may not change them. now you see there's server name and the hidden site activation key, and all that is grayed out, so you cannot change it. One issue with this older template file is that you cannot unhide it. I mean, it's working fine. You can see if you refresh the license management tool, it will see the licenses now with this configuration. It's a little bit slow. You can see 500 unlimited microstation. Now, if I go back to the domain controller and to the settings, I didn't hide the site activation key actually, but this just is not working here. And I guess one of the reasons is, again, the older template for the newer domain controller on Server 2008. So anyway, the server name and site activation key work here, and on the user side you can see the licenses. So this is one way. I'm now going to undo that on the domain controller, not configured, and I will remove Bentley licensing.adm template. Done that. To show how it looks like on the user side, synchronizing the changes with the domain controller. Done. So again, in Tools Options it's empty, but you can configure it now on your own. Here, if I refresh, failed to retrieve a list of available licenses. So we are back to the initial situation without any central configuration. So now I will show the ADMX style configuration, and that's actually the recommended configuration for the Server 2008 based domain controller. It contains, as I said, two configuration files, Bentley licensing.admx and in enus Bentley licensing.adml. You need to copy those files. This one, the ADMX one, to see Windows policy definitions. Okay, we have it here, Bentley licensing.admx, and accordingly to enus, the one from this enus, Bentley licensing.adml. Copy, paste. So that one is here as well. And that's actually it. You will now have the configuration in Group Policy Management. So we go into Group Policy Management and edit default domain policy. Go to Policies, Administrative Templates, and it's already here, Bentley Systems. So that's the configuration introduced by using the newer ADMX style configuration files. So again, I'm only configuring select server settings. I'm using the same temporary activation key. And I'm not hiding it as well. Okay, done. Go into the user machine, synchronizing. Okay, done. Tools, Options, and again, we have the configuration already in place, but now you see it's not hidden. So the newer template works 100% without any issues, and again, test connection should work. Yes, and if we refresh the license checkout tab, it should show again the same unlimited or 500 microstation licenses. Here we have it, microstation. So the user side is configured. Now just to demonstrate, again I'll go here and enable this checkbox hide site activation key. Okay, back to the user machine, synchronizing. Tools, options, and here you see, you now can only see the server name. Site activation key is hidden. So that's very handy for the administrators who don't want the select server online site activation key to be misused by the users, so that they don't take the site activation key home or somewhere else. They just don't see it. But still their PC is configured correctly to use the licenses from the hosted select server. In the same way, it can be configured to look to a company's deployed local select server. So you just configure a different server name as a host name of your local select server, so that there's no difference. The last thing I wanted to mention here, you see, this is a very simple configuration. I applied the configuration to the whole domain, default domain policy. It's actually possible to have different organizational units in group policy management, and you can assign different computers to different organizational units. By that you can divide companies' machines, for example, into cities or some departments and so on, and you can apply different settings, Bentley licensing settings, to different organizational units. So let's say PCs in one city will have one site activation key, and in the other city the other site activation key, or completely different licensing configuration, different server and activation key, and the other organizational unit will be configured to use a completely different select server. One can use deployed local, and the other one select server online. So there is a lot of freedom here. Actually, I don't know how to create those organizational units, but your Active Directory admin really should be able to do that. I believe that should be pretty easy. So that's everything I wanted to tell on this topic. Thanks a lot for your attention.